Tommy Robinson, the one thing I'm in support of is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You lot want to silence freedom of speech? Y'all.
Prophet, we can insult anybody we want to insult, just like you can insult anybody you want to insult. Okay, you're not going to shut down free speech with your nonsense.
Tommy Robinson, this is about freedom of speech. Simple as that.
I've not come here today to talk about my politics and my views. Shut up,
Tommy Robinson, the one thing I'm in support of is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You lot want to silence freedom of speech? Y'all.
Prophet, we can insult anybody we want to insult, just like you can insult anybody you want to insult. Okay, you're not going to shut down free speech with your nonsense.
Tommy Robinson, this is about freedom of speech. Simple as that.
See you later, you cunt! See you later, you Marxist cunt! Rat features! Now I'll do it so that people online hear the speech.
Tommy Robinson, the one thing I'm in support of is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You lot want to silence freedom of speech? Y'all.
Prophet, we can insult anybody we want to insult, just like you can insult anybody you want to insult. Okay, you're not going to shut down free speech with your nonsense.
Tommy Robinson, this is about freedom of speech. Simple as that.
Tommy Robinson, the one thing I'm in support of is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You lot want to silence freedom of speech? Y'all.
Prophet, we can insult anybody we want to insult, just like you can insult anybody you want to insult. Okay, you're not going to shut down free speech with your nonsense.
Tommy Robinson, this is about freedom of speech. Simple as that.
Freedom of speech for the British people!
Yeah, absolutely.
Proud to be British.
Tommy Robinson, the one thing I'm in support of is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You lot want to silence freedom of speech? Y'all.
Prophet, we can insult anybody we want to insult, just like you can insult anybody you want to insult. Okay, you're not going to shut down free speech with your nonsense.
Tommy Robinson, this is about freedom of speech. Simple as that.
All the facts. Now, friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see people with foreign money. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
The truth about Negroes and foreigners. The truth about the Catholic Church.
Do you believe in that kind of talk?
That all makes pretty good sense to me. And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? Without Negroes. Without alien foreigners. Without Catholics. Without Freemasons. You know these people.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason. Hey, that fellow's talking about me.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them. Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about... What about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin. I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us. Made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it. And it isn't going to be you.
I happen to know the facts. My friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American.
That tone of voice is already painful.
Some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see people with foreign money. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you.
What?
I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you.
It's a state taboo.
Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
Real Americans.
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
That makes two of us.
Very relatable to this day.
This fella seems to know what he's talking about.
And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without.
70 years. Damn.
What?
Still in the same fucking spot.
Without what? Yeah, without what? Without Negroes. Without alien foreigners.
Sounds like Hitler.
Without Catholics.
Wow.
So the people that make the country.
Without Freemasons.
People still think this way, though.
What's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason. Hey, that fella's talking about me.
Oh, so that guy was okay with it until... Yeah.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't care until he talks about him.
These are the people who are trying to take over our country.
It doesn't even feel like I'm watching a video from decades ago.
What they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them.
This kind of sounds like a Donald Trump speech.
Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us. Thank you.
Only two people clapping.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
This is so powerful.
Well, yes, but he was talking about... What about those
Other people, yeah.
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
That's what I've been trying to say.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
Oh.
But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so.
So sad.
They knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups.
That's exactly kind of what's happening now.
They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation.
You can still use that now.
We human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us.
That's what I've always saying.
Made by someone who wants something.
It's true.
Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody's going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And it isn't going to be you.
It sucks that, like, they put this out, and we're in 2017 now, and we're still in this situation.
That's so good. I've never seen that before, but he has some great points. And it's sad that they're so relevant today. It points out the fact that, like, normally people don't care unless it affects them.
Just because you weren't born an American or you're not American on a piece of paper doesn't mean that your spirit isn't that of America. And just because you were born here and you have papers saying you're American doesn't make you an American if you're a shitty person. It's fascinating. You look at this and you think this is forever ago, this is ancient. But in the grand scheme of things, this was like that.
Coming from like a Latin family, it's weird because I'm just out here trying to be a good person and helping other people, and just because you have like an idea of someone or a stereotype, that doesn't mean that everyone is like that.
Clearly, people still haven't learned. There are days when it's like, I have like racial experiences, and I like sit there and like try to act tough about it in the situation, but I go home and I cry. And it's like, it's tough to think about that, but it's real.
This whole thing hits so close to home because my mom is also an immigrant. And then there's my dad, who, even though he's white, he's Jewish. My dad's mother survived the Holocaust. And so to see this happening all over again, like, it's so surreal, but unfortunately it is real.
I'm actually Syrian. I was not my parents, it's not just my parents are Syrian. I was actually born and raised there until I was 14. And I had to come here. So technically those people would hate my guts, which makes me really sad. I spent 3 years in an active war zone. And I can tell you that every single person that left didn't leave because they want to, because I don't want to. It's my home. It's everything that I've ever known, and I had to leave it because I was in danger. And people don't understand that because I've never felt it. But if it was up to me, I definitely would be back there.
Went to the post office to pick up a parcel, and there was a queue. There's always a queue. And there's a woman behind me in the queue, and she says, we talk, you know, how you do. And she's an older white woman, and she says, "You're with us now," she says. And she goes on about how the blacks are all right because, you know, we've all been together for a long time in where we live, but it's the Muslims now who are a problem. And it's all spun around a story of her grandson being victimized by Muslim boys in his school, and she feels protective of her grandson. And she, in the way that she articulates her desire to keep him safe, she starts to make it very, very clear to me that the term Muslim has become a kind of racial category in her mind. And I think that's a general problem. I think that Muslim is what we, you know, in the English department, we call a racial trope, a way of speaking about a racial idea without invoking it directly. So Muslim's been racialized in that way. I suppose we could look back at previous times in the 20th century when the word Jew might have been racialized in that way. And people say, oh, it's just a religion. But actually, they don't mean that it's just a religion at all. It means that there's a whole cultural complex there, and maybe even a biological one that needs to be recognized.
O people, your lives and your property are sacrosanct until you meet your Lord, as are this holy place, this holy day, and this holy month. Remember that you will indeed meet your Lord and answer for your deeds, so beware. Whoever of you is holding a trust, let him return it to its rightful owner. All usury is abolished. Your capital, however, is yours to keep. Wrong not, and you shall not be wronged. All bloodshed from the pagan age of ignorance is to be left unavenged. O people, the devil has lost all hope of ever being worshipped in this land of yours. Nevertheless, he will try to mislead you in smaller matters. Beware of him, therefore, for the safety of your religion. Time has turned, and it is as it was the day that God created the heavens and the earth. The number of months is 12. 4 of them are holy, in which war and fighting are forbidden. O man, you have your rights over your wives, and they have rights over you. It is your right that they do not fraternize with anyone of whom you do not approve. But if they do, Allah has permitted you to isolate them within their homes and chastise them without cruelty. But if they abide by your rights, then they have the right to be fed and clothed in kindness. Do treat your women well, and be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers. You have taken them only as a trust from Allah, and you have their enjoyment only by His permission. So listen to me in earnest, O people, and reason well. I leave behind me 2 things, the Quran and my example. If you follow them, you will not go astray. O people, listen to my words. Know that every Muslim is a brother to every Muslim, and that all Muslims constitute one brotherhood. It is only lawful to take from a brother what he gives you willingly, so wrong not yourselves. The Prophet ﷺ then faced the heavens and said, Be my witness, O Allah, that I have conveyed your message to your people. It was then that some of the final words of the Quran were revealed.
اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا.
This day I have perfected your religion for you, and have completed my favor upon you, and have chosen for you as religion Al-Islam.